You just asked Claude to build your budget. It gave you a very beautiful spreadsheet, revenue projections, expense breakdowns, and monthly cash flows. And you are excited. You think that you've saved $10,000 on a finance hire. But wait, you didn't. You got a hallucination formatted as a spreadsheet. Now, don't get me wrong. AI can do a lot of good things, but building a real budget is not one of them. Not yet, at least. In this video, I'll show you what AI actually does well in finance, where it completely falls apart, and why the judgment layer is missing. Hi, I'm Kishore Dasaka. I run a fractional CFO firm for startups. We use AI tools every day. I also clean up the mess when founders trust them too much. Let me be clear. I'm not anti-AI. I personally use Claude and OpenAI constantly. It's genuinely useful for finance work, but you have to know what it is actually good at. First one is historical analysis. Give Claude the last 12 months of your P&L data and ask it to identify trends, flag anomalies, and compare quarters. This is where it really shines. It can process data faster than any human can. It can spot errors and patterns that you normally miss. It can also summarize months of financial data within a matter of minutes. For backward-looking analysis, AI is legitimately helpful. Second one is formatting and structure. Need a budget template, need a cash flow model structure, need a variance analysis framework, AI can build the scenario and the scaffolding very well. It knows what a budget should look like. It knows the categories, the formulas, and the layout. For structuring and formatting, AI really saves time. The third one is first cut draft. If you're starting a board deck, a rough cut of your financial narrative, or translation of numbers into storytelling, AI can get you 60% of the way there. It won't be perfect yet, but it is a starting point where you can actually do the edits. For first drafts and iterations, AI absolutely accelerates the process. So yes, AI is genuinely useful, but building a real budget, that is a completely different problem. Here's what happens when you ask AI to build your budget end to end. It doesn't know your business as well as you do. It doesn't know your sales cycle, whether it is 90 days or 60 days. It doesn't know your biggest customer is not likely to renew your subscription in Q3. It doesn't know that you're about to lose your head of sales. It also probably doesn't know that your product roadmap got pushed back. It doesn't have that context. So what AI does is it makes assumptions. It pulls from patterns. It generates something that looks plausible. But plausible is not the same as being accurate. Plausible is just a guess, dressed up very well in formatting. Firstly, it hallucinates. I have seen AI-generated budgets with revenue growth rates that came from absolutely nowhere, expense ratios that don't match the business model, and hiring plans that don't connect to any of the strategies that the board has. When you ask the model as to where the numbers came from, there is no precise answer because AI didn't calculate them, it generated them. And that is the difference between analysis and hallucination. Analysis is here's what the data says, but hallucination is here's what sounds reasonable. Your budget cannot be built on something that sounds reasonable. Second is it can't make trade-offs. A real budget is a series of decisions. Do we hire the engineer or do we increase the ad spend? Do we extend the runway or do we invest in growth? Do we build the feature or do we double down on sales? Now these are real business decisions. These are judgment calls. These require understanding of the business that you have that AI doesn't. They require understanding of your goals. They require understanding of several other items. AI, unfortunately, can't do any of this. It can give you options. It can lay out scenarios, but it can't tell you which one is the right fit for your business. And that is what I call the judgment layer. And that is completely missing in AI today. Let me go deeper on context. A real budget is not just a series of numbers put together. It is a reflection of everything that you know about the business, your history, what worked last year, what failed, what surprised you, what are the patterns that you've seen in multiple business cycles. AI doesn't know any of this. It doesn't know any of this history. It only knows what you paste into the prompt. And you can't paste 3 years of institutional knowledge into a single chat window. Next is your goals. Are you optimizing for growth or profitability? Are you preparing for a raise or extending runway? Are you building to sell or building to keep this as a lifestyle business? These goals change everything. A growth budget looks completely different from a profitability budget. AI doesn't know which one you want. unless you tell it explicitly, and even then, it doesn't understand these trade-offs. The next one is your constraints. What can you actually hire in this market? What does your board actually expect? What will your investors accept? And what are you personally willing to sacrifice? These constraints shape every decision. But AI doesn't know them. It can't factor them in. So it builds budgets in a vacuum. The next, and possibly the most important, is your relationships. That customer who always pays late, that vendor who gives you extended terms, your existing investor who will write a bridge round if needed, and your key employee who is about to leave. These relationships change the math, and AI has no idea that they exist. Here's where some founders push back. Founders tell me, but I gave Claude enough context so that it can build a good budget. Well, maybe, but here's the problem. The art is in the prompting. Knowing what context to provide, knowing what questions to ask, what assumptions to validate, and what outputs to trust. It's not AI doing the work, that is you doing the work. AI becomes a tool, a very useful tool, but still, it's a tool that requires expertise to operate. If you don't know what a budget looks like, you won't know what prompt to give the AI. If you don't understand the drivers of your business, you won't know what context to provide it. If you don't have the judgment about the outputs, you won't even know when the budget is wrong. The founders who use AI well in finance are the ones who already understand finance. They're using AI to accelerate the decisions, but not to replace decision making itself. So, will AI build full budgets someday? Probably the answer is yes. By 2030, it definitely would. Here's what needs to happen next. Persistent context. AI that knows your business over time, that remembers your history, that understands your pattern, and that learns what works for you. As of today, we're not there yet, but we're getting closer day by day. Integration with your systems. AI that integrates your accounting software, your CRM, your HRMS, and your bank accounts. AI can pull that data automatically, not the data that you paste in. Now, this is coming. Many of this is already in existence today, but it's not seamless yet. And most importantly, the judgment layer. Now, this is the hardest part. AI that can weigh trade-offs, that can understand priorities, and that can make recommendations that account for this nuance. This requires something closer to reasoning, not pattern matching. We are years away from that. So yes, AI will probably build budgets eventually, but not today, and definitely not next year, and not without a human in the loop. So here's my practical advice. Use AI for analysis. Pull your historical data, use Claude or ChatGPT to identify trends. Ask it to flag anomalies. Ask it to summarize what happened. This is high value work and low risk. So use AI for that. Also, use AI for structure. Ask it to build templates. Ask it to create frameworks and ask it to format your outputs. Let it do the scaffolding and you do the thinking. Use AI for iteration. Write your first draft, paste it into Claude or ChatGPT. Ask it to challenge your assumptions and find holes in your logic. Ask it to suggest alternatives. Use it as a thought partner, not a replacement for thought. Don't use AI for final outputs. Never ever send an AI generated budget to your board without reviewing every number. Never make hiring decisions based on AI projections that you have not validated personally. Never commit capital based on what AI has done that you don't understand. The judgment layer is still you. AI is powerful, AI is useful, AI is getting better every day. But AI can't build your budget. Use AI as a tool. Don't use AI as a replacement for thinking. The founders who get this right will move faster than anyone else. But the founders who get this wrong will make expensive mistakes based on hallucination in the form of spreadsheets.